done. Alright guys, so you probably saw my video yesterday and are updated to where I'm at here. It's actually still the same day, and I didn't want to make the video any longer from yesterday than it already was. So I'm still waiting for the fertilizer tank, but I left you guys. I was going to take this tire off this rim, and when I was talking about getting a new tire and rim for the tractor, I did have a few guys comment that it didn't look that bad, that it could be saved, but I know it's hard to see on camera sometimes. So this rim is done. This is junk. It's going to go on the junk pile. It's not going to be worth my time patching this and welding on it and trying to get metal formed in there and then have to sand it all down. And this rim's $100. So we're going to make the decision here to just put it on the scrap pile. And I don't even have my tire tools down here. All I used was a little bit of a crowbar and a little straight bar there, but I couldn't get the tube out of the tire once the bead was broke and the one side was over the rim. What actually happened, these gashes here, they must have had a problem before that they patched the tire on the inside, and it looks like they stuck the tube in right away and blew it up with those patches. And what ended up happening, the patches seized themselves to the tube. So there was no way I could pull it out of here. I was pulling all I could. So if you guys ever run into a situation like that, that the tube is stuck and you're not going to reuse the tube, get yourself a utility knife and get in there and cut around the patch until your tube is free. Pull your tube out. And then once your tube is out and you get the tire off the rim, then you can take your hands in there and really get some leverage to pull those the rest of the tube out. So we got the rest of the tube out, and just looking at this tire, I don't know if I want to try to save it either. It has a lot of spots where it's really dry rotted. So I got to think about this project, but the work's done now. We got the old tube out, the calcium was recycled, and we'll probably recycle that old rim. And we just have a tire here that we're not sure what we want to do with. You can see I pulled the one patch right off. I had had enough force to yank on it that I actually ripped the patch off the tire. So this one's still on. So we got to figure out what we want to do and go from there. Talking to the tire guy, he was looking at all the tractors here in the shop, and we were talking tires, and it's dark and you can't see anyway. I was talking about getting new tires on the 986. He thought that was a pretty good idea, especially because one has calcium in and one has no calcium, and on a hill, having one tire weighted down, you really got to make sure you have your weight on the upper side of the hill. It's not the safest, and we might do something about it here before too long. The tire on the left side, you guys might have seen it before. It's the Firestone. He said it is a radial. I didn't realize it was a radial. I thought it was a bias. And what he said was it's wearing kind of funny. He said that's how some of those tires wear. I don't know. But that's the one that's full of calcium, the one that's bad. The other side is that Continental. It's a radial, and it's probably 60% tread. And he's going to keep a lookout and see if he can find a tire to match. If not, he had said he knew some good tires that we could put on there. He said the rims were wide enough. If I wanted to upgrade to the 2038s, I could, but he said he didn't recommend putting calcium in because it's not enough for those size rim. It's too much weight. So he said if you wanted to go with the bigger tires, the 2038s, he had said that we'd have to just not put the calcium in, and I'd have to put some wheel weights on it. So I don't know. The 2038s are nice. They're nice big tires. You have good flotation with them. My rims are big enough that it would accept that. And I have to think about it. I think for the price, we're going to stick with the 18.4s. That way, if I ever have to use the tractor in rows of crops, I can still get through with 18.4s. 2038s are pretty wide to try to get into rows of corn. So we're going to think about that. We'll see what we can do with that. He also said for the 560, I know it's so dark in here. For the 560, these are 15.538s. I had told him, I said, I wish they were the 16.9s. just because they're a little bit heavier tire, a little bit bigger, and then your tractor's sitting more level. Right now it's pitched that way. He said those rims will accept the 16.9 38s. So down the road in the future, depending on how long I keep this 560, that might be an option. Those are Goodyear tires on there. They have plenty of tread, but they're still dry rotted, so we just have to wait and see. He said what happens with a lot of those Goodyears and with the Continentals is they get cracks on the inside when they start to dry rot all along the inside, and then they start to pinch your tube. Let me go somewhere where there's some light instead of talking in the dark here. So it's something to think about. I did get some good advice from the guy. So we'll see. We'll see what we can do here over time. We're not going to be able to do it all at once. Like I said, we are a small farm here, and it's not in the budget to go and put brand new tires on everything. I had to prioritize, and we needed one for the 395 because that one was completely flat. It was shot. You guys see the condition of it. Like I say, I know some guys said it didn't look too bad, but now that it's off, can kind of give you some perspective of what I was dealing with here, what I could see on my end versus what the camera picked up. So I had to prioritize. That was a priority if I wanted to use that this winter to plow snow. And the 685 is a main tractor here. It is doing everything all year long, so it needed tires, and we got that taken care of. The 986 will be next because it doesn't get used as much, but for baling and stuff on hillsides, I'd love to have it balanced with matching tires. Even if he would just put calcium in the other side for the time being, I don't know. We're gonna see. We're just gonna, the rims are brand new on the 986. The stickers are still on the rims. That the previous people that had the tractor put brand new rims on, so I'm very happy with that. The 560 rims are iffy, and down the road in the future, if we ever do need tires, I am going to go with the 16.9s, and we might have to get new rims by then. So I don't know. We'll see. It is what it is. So still waiting for the guy for this tank, so it's going to be dark probably till he gets here. So I'll add more to this video. It'll probably be a different day. So I appreciate you guys for sticking with me through this series. I just want to put a couple pieces of advice here that I know of while I'm thinking of it. All right, guys, it is the next day, and I thank you guys for bearing with me here. Just double checking these tires. Want to make sure that we don't have any leaks from sitting overnight. And right now, it looks like they're pretty good. They held air overnight. Like I said, that tire guy from Zimmerman, I think his name was John, but he did a great job. No complaints there. He was very careful. I told you guys the valve stems were on the inside, and it had a dummy stem on the outside. He had asked if he could make it easier on me by moving the dummy stem to the inside and putting the regular valve stem on the outside. So that wasn't going to bother me at all, and I'm glad he suggested it because I didn't say anything about it. It was just something he had mentioned, so real happy. So fertilizer tank, it's here. It came last night. It was just about dark. The sun was just about down, and you could hardly see anything. So here's the tank. It's an identical tank to the one that I had bought. That one's blue because I think that's the heavier duty one. They do make two different thicknesses of tanks as far as the thickness and with the UV stuff. Paul B. Hardware down in Lidditz, I think, was the one that sold me this tank. And the way he explained it, there's different variations in the plastic depending on what you want to do with it. So I got a heavy duty one. I think this is the standard duty one, and I'm not going to complain for what I had to give for it. That tank was, $12 or $1,300, which is a lot of money, but I wasn't seeing any used tanks, and I needed one when I started here, and I needed one yesterday. So it was kind of an emergency. I didn't have any options, so I just said, all right, I'll take one. I need one. So this tank, I had a lot more time. I had all winter to keep my eyes open for another tank. I found this one. Seems to be in pretty good shape. It is a lot bigger than he had advertised. Well, this was on Craigslist, but he said it was 1,000 gallon, and when it came, it's another $15.50. So I'm not going to complain about the extra capacity. There was no difference in the price. So I did look in. It looks fairly clean. He didn't know how old it was. So that's the biggest issue with these tanks. What they teach you in sprayer school to test these tanks, as weird and as strange as it's going to sound to some of you guys that aren't around farm equipment or spray or anything like that, this is the scientific method to test one of these tanks to make sure that it's still in good shape and you can still put fertilizer in it. What they recommend is take a baseball bat. This is true. This isn't a made-up story. And they want you to hit the side of the tank as hard as you can. And if the tank does not crack, you're good to go. So that is the scientific method right from the people who do the sprayer licenses and the spray companies to make sure that your tank is usable. So I didn't hit it with a baseball bat yet, and I am not going to, just because I just paid for it. But one thing I did notice that I could tell when you push on it, this plastic is very flexible, yet you can feel it doesn't have the sun damage. I'm not seeing any UV or fading. This here was just where the fertilizer level was sitting. I don't think that this is that old, honestly. I think it's going to be a pretty nice tank. Couple different scuffs and scrapes on it from moving it around, but I don't know. I won't know until it has fertilizer in it. So I might take it up to the house, to the garden hose, and put some water in just to double check the bottom. The bottom is the biggest thing. I don't want to have any leaks at the bottom. A leak at the top, okay, you have a leak near the top, you can pump some out into another tank, but right at the bottom, that's no good. So I'm real happy. Two things I want to do with this tank now that it's here before I do anything else. I want to see if I can't find the cap here for the lid. There's a cap. You see mine is a center cap. This didn't come with it, so I have to see if you can buy just that cap. I want this thing to be closed up. I don't want it to be open or exposed. The lid itself is all right, as long as I can find that cap. If they don't make that cap, then, and the tab is missing that hold the lid, but that's not major. So it's fairly clean. You can see in there. It's not terrible. A little bit of residue, but you're going to have that. This was a brand new tank and I have residue in it already. It's just whoever delivers your nitrogen. Okay, so that's the first thing. I want to find that cap. The second thing I want to do is, I'm so happy this came with the valve on it already, with the quick connect that will fit my fertilizer hoses for my pump. So that is so great to have this valve on here, exactly what I need. These valves can be expensive depending on where you go, and I didn't even try it, and it even works. It's free, and it has the right quick coupler on. So what I'm going to do is take this apart, take it off, thread it out, and I'm going to put some brand new the liquid sealant on there for chemicals. I do have some of the stuff. I'm not sure what it's called. I guess liquid Teflon would work too, but I have the actual stuff for chemicals. So we want to try to make sure before we put anything in here, for one, the bottom isn't leaking, and for two, I want to make sure that this is sealed up and going to be solid. So it's a lot lighter of a tank than that one. That one is pretty darn heavy. One guy can't really slide it. Honestly, it's that heavy of a plastic. There's that much plastic. The sidewalls are thick. So now I have the forks for the bucket, and what I'll probably do is maybe just throw a blanket over the forks and I can move them around with that then. So basically we have the same tank as we have, and I am very happy I found this. I'm very happy that I got a hold of him right away when I did, and the guy was nice enough to deliver it for me for an eighth of the price of that one. So I wish I would have found this my first year, but it's okay. We needed another one. So that's great. Now the next thing, I got to try to clear out the corner there, try to get everything rearranged and sorted out. So we'll get into it. All right, guys, I just got this tank into place here next to the other one, and I have to tell you, I am not liking this at all. It sticks out too far here from the door, and that valve has to be this way to fill a sprayer. So I think it's sticking out way too far. I got too much jammed in here. So I have to try to figure out how I want to do this to get this other tank in here. Unless I move that little 3-point sprayer, this lawnmower, and this trailer out of the way, I can set them both side by side here maybe. I have to get my tape measure out and do some measuring. All I know is I don't like this. I really wish I could put these where I want to put these, but can't really do anything about it right now. All right, I was just going through all my sprayer parts and stuff, and as luck would have it, I actually have a cap. So I'll just see if it works here. Make sure. And this cap was a little funny. I think that's why it was stuck in the box. Why it wasn't being used. Yeah, they don't quite... Yeah, it goes too hard. Yeah, I think I threw this in there because it wasn't working that well anymore. So I'll have to get a cap. Might be a little bit different style than this. I think I tried using this a couple times before, and that's why it ended up in the parts box. But yeah, it's too tight to fit on there. And we'll try it, but I doubt it. Just, no. Okay. Thought I'd have good luck. So, all right, guys, I'm going to end the video there. It's long enough. I got to figure this out. Figure out how I want to do this, but I don't like how much this tank sticks out. And the concrete floor underneath is all jagged too. It's not a flat spot there. It's broke. So I don't really want this sitting on that spot there. So anyway, I'll come back with you tomorrow. So thanks for watching.